the movie, the platform, how do I even begin to describe the, listen, CC occasionally will recommend a movie to me, but see, CC recommends these mind-bending, trippy, have you all over the place, like, if you know CC, then you know what kind of movies she'll recommend. That's just the wavelength she on, and I love her for it. But y'all, listen, when I tell you, I had to break out my phone, and I left like 15 different like voice messages recordings on my phone trying to break this movie down. Listen, I was having a fit, and just to prove to y'all, listen, I'm going to put together a little. This is what I put together for you guys. This is snippets from the 15 different recordings I had. This is like the pre-intro to the intro before I get to me and CC breaking this down for y'all. So just listen to this. Hey CC, I'm only 36 minutes into this movie and I'm already like, oh my god. The people on level, this guy's on level 171. He don't give a damn about hair. He's literally eating a body with maggots on it. I guess they figure a black person has nothing to lose, right? People only ate what they needed. It would reach the lower levels. It's like, I'm not letting you get out because I'm not getting out. Now, some people say, level 6, I'm comfortable, I'm good. You just happen to be a level above them. But you're still in judgment of them. Meanwhile, all of you are in a system where they're playing games with you guys, literally. Level up, level down, level up, level down. Like, you're just toys with the establishment at this point. And they have you guys conditioning yourselves to judge each other. Wait a minute, it's starting to come together. Kids are not allowed in. Kids under 16 are not allowed. But obviously a kid was formed in this quote-unquote structured, unstructured system. And that's true. You want to get a message across. It depends on how you deliver that message. If you come across brash and aggressive, people aren't gonna hear you. We're judging society how we look after the less fortunate. The games that the rich play on people who are not like them. That's what they say when she's the message. Like, you make this rules like there's no kids allowed. But obviously somebody took advantage of a woman. Okay, CC, they just can't end a movie like that. Hello, and welcome back to The Conversation Piece with your host, Akila.
Let's do it.
All right. No, because the first time I saw it, I sent you voice. I had like voice messages or whatever. Mm-hmm. I sent you like one of them, and I was listening back to them, and it's the same thing. Like, this movie is so symbolic on so many levels. No pun intended.
Right, it is. Yeah, I agree.
It's an indictment. I think overall, it's an indictment about us as people and us. How really, at the end of the day, we should all be looking after each other.
Right, the humility. Absolutely. Right. Mm-hmm. I agree. I mean, it breaks it down, like talking about what humility is and all that kind of stuff. I think they did a great job showing like the eye of deprivation. You know what I'm saying? And they really went deep.
I mean, the beginnings just sets it up. It says there's 3 types of people. There's people who are above, people who are below, and people who fall. But I would add another layer. There are people who rise. There are also people who rise to the occasion. Because think about it. In order for him to get free, we would think of that as ascending. He literally had to go down
to come up. Yes, he did.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, but like the saying, you got to get down so you can get up.
Yeah.
Because long as you up, you don't really realize, if you ain't in the right mind frame, you don't realize or acknowledge your blessings and the grace that surrounds your existence until you go down. You know what I mean? You go without, you live in lack until that time, I think that's awakening. I feel like all of them had, like all of his roommates had some sort of realization moment. You don't realize the things until you don't have them, until you don't have that access, until you don't have that comfortability. And then it makes you realize, look at reality for what it is. And with that, and in that vision of looking at reality, what you gonna do now?
I mean, even okay, what do you think about they're only allowed to bring in one object? He brought a book.
That's deep.
Right. They didn't really get into like whatever, what everyone else brought, but his first roommate brought a knife. I'm like, well, it kind of came in handy.
That one guy brought a rope. And the lady brought a dog, you know? And then the husband or the guy above on 5, when he started roommating with the black guy, the couple above them, they bought each other, which is deep, because how that's gonna look when y'all faced with something real individually as well as together. Y'all ain't gonna be ready.
Well, it kind of also shows you what kind of people they will be out on the outside too. They're selfish. It's like, okay, this guy, and I understand his psychosis at that point, because he's like, listen, I'm 5 levels away from what I perceive as freedom. But the people, just one level above him, are like, listen, if you ain't getting out, nobody getting out. If we ain't getting out, you ain't getting out. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're like, I'm supposed to help out a black man. Like, that just shows you also what kind of people they are on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Absolutely. Oh yeah, about that. When he was saying, I heard God, I know that I'm about to get out, or I'm this close, I can get out. And my question, not my question, but my observation was like how the guys, first of all, everything is obvious. Everything is obvious. Hence, old dude, the ghost, he always said, obviously, and I think they did I'll get on technique in a second, because I love that, the way they kept doing that, because everything was truly obvious. Because even though he was wrapped up in his vision and his belief and his, what happened to him, as far as his experience with God, the people above him, they weren't trying to hear that. They didn't believe him. They obviously didn't believe him. He didn't see it. Mm-hmm. He didn't see it, and he could have truly been killed. Everything in this movie was mad obvious. It was just the way, if the character was set up mentally to perceive it or not. I mean,
Well, I would push back against that, because to any rational person, they're like, okay, you don't know how many floors there are, but you hear rumors that is more than 200. So you see how much food is presented. So the rational, logical thinker would be like, okay, we need to start rationing this food. And when he presented that to the old man's like, no, I gotta look out for myself. It's like that whole, it's like individual versus the collective. And that's, again, it's an indictment, and it's shining a light on societies in general. It's like people who had this mindset, this concept of, we need to rally together to strengthen numbers. But some people they're like, no, I'm thinking of myself only. They're like, oh, well, what about the people above us? What about the people below us? And even the judgment that they had in that moment of just, literally, you're just, at any moment, you could be up or down. You don't know where you're going. So the arrogance in the face of obvious humility, but it was just mind-boggling. Like, wow.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you, because I think they did a great job with depicting that. But about the man, the guy, he was with this whole, like you said, solidarity. Let's look out for one another because there's enough food. That concept of there's enough food, and blase blase. Well, then the other guy, would that be arrogance, or would that be dealing with reality? You know what I'm saying? Because the other guy had been there, and he's been at lower level. He was speaking through experience.
Right.
And the one guy that was all for it which is a great thing. You know what I'm saying? But he was all for it. He wasn't necessarily speaking from the same experience. Right. He was just speaking from, you know, his heart, or morally or ethically. Right. And the other guy, not that he didn't observe ethics, which his character, we have to talk about his character. His character, the ghost, you know, the older guy, his character was actually very, 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 very interesting to me. But he was speaking from what he knows. And the same thing translates to society. Many people think that, you know, I mean, you know, it's a connotation around people that sell drugs. It's a connotation around, you know, people that have addictions. However, if you talk to the person that have addictions and or that sell drugs specifically, they coming from a mindset that they doing how they know. It's a survival. Right. It's more of a survival mindset versus a logical mindset. A civilized murder versus an uncivilized murder. When the ghost was talking to him, mm-hmm. and he told him about how he ended up being in there, you know, murder. He told the story. And then he compared to how he killed him. And was like, okay, mine was civilized. He basically made a mistake. It was an accident. But his wasn't. He was like, we're the same, but we different.
One was done out of self-defense, self-preservation, and one was done out of sheer just frustration. You throw a TV out the window. Hello, who does it? Okay, number one, who does it? Out of a window. You're on second, third floor out of a window. You know it's gonna destroy something. The television itself, obviously, but I mean, just from it breaking, disintegrating, and shit. I mean, you can have flying parts that can cut somebody. That's, you know, let's say there's nobody beneath the actual. Let's say he didn't hit a part. Let's say he didn't. The television didn't fall on somebody. Someone nearby in the vicinity could have got shattered glass or whatever. He still could have. He hurt somebody.
Absolutely, he killed somebody.
Right.
And I absolutely agree. However, if we look at the reasoning, and not as an excuse, but as of what it was and the deficiencies there, it's like, wow. Because he lives unaware. He even got obsessed with wanting something he just saw on TV. And then to see that by the time he able to work and save to get it, all for the wrong reasons. But after he done worked and saved and this, that, and the third, and sacrificed him parts of his life and himself to get this item, they done moved on and made something even better. That's how it go, right? Somebody aware, like, will be like, oh, it'll be a new iPhone tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So I'm good. I'm gonna chill right here and use the technology that I got. And now,
well, I mean, they noted that he's a little off because they said it was either that or a mental institution. So yeah, something is definitely off with him.
Definitely, just
because I mean, because of his rationale, he's like, I'm just gonna throw this out. I'm just gonna throw a TV out the window. We would not throw a TV out the window.
Right, and we would also not base our life, like rearrange our life to have an object.
No,
exactly. You know what I'm saying? But it's a lot of people who will. These people they're living unaware. They sleep. You know what I'm saying? And it's out of, because at some point, all of us are asleep to some degree. Everybody, for whatever reasons, it varies from life to life until we begin to develop, take accountability, what you're talking about, along with spiritually, along with all these things, and become even become aware of what's truly around us, of what we are and what's truly around us, you know. And it's a lot of people hadn't passed that. And so in his unawareness, he acted grossly negligent. civilized. No, I think the civilized part is when he was being transparent with him. Basically, look, I'm finna kill you. I'm finna eat.
Yeah.
But do you believe in God? I care about your salvation now. I don't want to put your nasty flesh, meaning like morally and ethically, in my mouth. So I'm gonna have to let you sit there about a week, alive, and really come to some realizations before I eat you. You know, that's the civilized part versus, like you said, survival. Dude was like, no, I can't let you do that, and had the opportunity to defend himself. So I thought that was very interesting, that how the ghost, that's almost like my favorite character, the ghost. I hate to say it, but
And the woman actually, she as she was descending, she saw what he was doing to him, and she actually stabbed him first, and she,
right,
cut him loose, and she pretty much gave him a knife. Like, listen, if you don't stop this now, he's gonna do it again. Oh, let me ask you this. This is another thing I found interesting. She named her dog Ramses II.
yeah, Ramses the second. That's interesting. Why would she name her dog that?
He was an oppressor in the grand scheme. When you think about it, he was arrogant. He was an oppressor. He wasn't a nice person. But you name a dog?
Right.
After that,
it have to be some.
like, I think there's something more behind that. I just haven't.
Yeah, I'm about to look into that. Yes, that's very interesting. That's very interesting. That's great.
Maybe she's projecting, because to think about it, you're sending volunteers into the pit. You have a vague sense of what it may or may not be doing to these people. In a sense,
Right.
you're oppressing them, and then
That's true.
here you have this reflection because your life is about to end. You're like, okay, I need to do something good with myself. I need to do something with my life. And some people do that. They lead the most horrific life possible, and then when they're faced with death, or when they see death coming, they're like, all of a sudden, I need to be a good person. So maybe that was a projection on her part.
That's true. That's a great observation. Great observation. Who's to say? What if she didn't have a dog? Do you think the lady would have killed her? Maybe the dog was her sacrifice.
I'm trying to figure out, why did the lady kill the dog to begin with?
She was hungry. she saw the dog because she rolled the thing.
She was descending. There was no food on the platform that point. I can't remember.
No, somebody had did something to her, and they drug her off, right. and she spent the night on that level. Well, she spent some time on that level. Yeah, she discovered, maybe, I don't think she saw the dog right away because she was out of it. And then the night when they asleep, she see a dog, and it's like, oh, this me. But but him and her, they developed the understanding, but her and the lady never developed understanding. So she had no remorse, no sensibility. She didn't have no feelings, no connection to this dog at all.
Okay. All right.
But one that made me think, like, was that the lady's sacrifice?
Yeah, knowing what these people are becoming, it's possible.
If we're playing chess, the queen ain't just sitting on the board by herself, and they're giving him the ability to bring one object. And I guess it's our mindset to, are we gonna survival, or are we gonna love, or are we gonna educate? Knowledge up, or like, what you gonna do? Yeah, the experiment knew it was a sacrifice, but maybe at the time when they decided, maybe the person did.
Now I'm thinking about that, could have been, because she knew at one point there'd be no food left. Mm-hmm. I mean, but her feigning anguish about losing her dog. I mean, yeah, I understand that is your comfort animal, but I mean, if he served a higher purpose, then she should have reconciled those feelings quick, in my opinion.
Right. I think her realization happened because her plan failed. Because her plan failed, because to her, I'm still gonna preach the whole solidarity and get people to join, but it takes time to do that. It takes time.
It does take time, but it goes back again on how you convey a message. His message was like, listen, right. He was like, listen, brute force. Like, listen, I'm gonna shit on your food. I'm gonna let you know.
Right. And I thought that was dope, because but he was reaching them in the point of which they can catch it, because they know all that what you talking about, lady, with all the frills and sunshine, like, hey, that don't reach down here. This is a new place, so I can't even begin to receive what you're saying. But he took it to the jugular.
It's interesting because in society and life, that's how you reach some people. Some people, they're not used to the honey. They're used to vinegar, right? So some people, they're used to honey. So if you come with them with honey, they're like, okay, I'm on board. Some people are like, nah, I'm used to vinegar. Give me vinegar. And that's what he gave me. He's like, all right, because that's what they were on that level.
And they knew logically, they like, wait, he can't do that. He has the opportunity. He got the possibility that could happen. And
that's also at that point, it's in his control to do that. They lost control at that point. They're like, oh, okay, yeah.
What do you think the main character had to process to get down on his knees and eat? Remember, because the first few times he wasn't eating. Like, he's like, this is disgusting. Like, y'all got me messed up. Like, y'all done tried it on so many levels. I can't eat. But then he eventually had to put a pillow down. What do you think he had to really truly process to start eating?
Survival.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point, your body is going to be like, I need nourishment or else I can't function. And I mean, you put somebody in an environment where they literally have to survive and function in order to get, I mean, at some point he knew that he would be leaving, but he probably was like, listen, let me eat this disgusting food. It's not forever. But then again, he didn't, I think at that level, he was like 48. Because I think in his mind, he didn't think that he was going to go any lower. Honestly, that's my opinion. But when he saw that 171, he was like, oh, hell to the no. He's like, oh, hell, no. And the homeboy had tied him up. I was like, listen, I'm going to give you a week for you to realize what's about to happen. You're going to get on board or not. I think for all of them, it was about survival.
Survival, yeah. This was a concept that I noticed and was like, the people that jumped. In order to notice someone has jumped, you got to be below them. You don't know somebody to jump if you're above them.
But if you fascinating too, like you're on a higher level, the ratio or the margin of which you're going to eat is higher than the people below. But you choose to jump.
It's deeper than eating.
Right.
Look at society. People with a lot of money or fame, sometimes, you know what I mean? And stuff like that. Not all people, but you know what I'm saying.
That was the fall. That was the fall part they're talking about.
Maybe that somehow the people on the bottom was tougher, like, so to speak, symbolically speaking, than the people at the top.
It's not even symbolically at this point. I mean, look at society. Look at how the endurance and just intestinal fortitude that people, Black people, people of color in general. I'm not saying we're superior, but we're tougher because we've gone through so much, as opposed to some people on the top. Oftentimes they're white, but when they're presented with a test, they're fragile. They can't take it, and sometimes they commit suicide. They think, this is my way out. I'm not built for this, as they say. I can't think of the guy, the one who did the Ponzi scheme, who ended up killing himself.
I think I saw that, but I don't know what oh
God, what's his name?
What it was.
Yeah, but yeah, there's people who are of privilege and certain status, quote unquote. But once they're presented with tests, like real life tests, they're gonna test their mettle. It's a fragile spirit at that point.
I want to go back to something we were talking about the tech. Well, I mentioned that I wanted to about the technique in which they communicated. I love how they answered in questions. You know what I mean? It was a lot of that. Like, they'll ask a question, then the answer would be in a question. And it was a lot of that going on. And I felt like in the moments they was talking like in parables, like, or how, you know, when they was talking like that, I felt like that was like on a Broadway play, that part where the spotlight is right on like an issue on that part. Not on Broadway, it would be on the actor or the actresses. But in this case, the spotlight is on the issue or the concept, and I thought that was dope. Like when they started talking like that, you pay close attention. Well, I paid close attention because it was like, what are you really saying? Because everything is obvious. It's just when they start throwing words around or
I mean, but
things around.
it wasn't really obvious until they explained it, like the distance between the red light and the green light and the temperature change. It wasn't obvious until something was highlighted, as you say. For the
Environment.
viewer, for the viewer per se, it wasn't obvious until it was made obvious to them. But he was kept saying he's like obviously, but I'm thinking, dude, you've been here longer than he has. It's not obvious to him yet.
Right, but to him it was.
Mm-hmm.
And for in that survival mode, that was the only reality that truly mattered.
How do you think they moved them from How do you think they moved them from platform? Do you think like they had like they physically moved them, or you just think like somehow like the outer part like moved up or down? Like he's on 40, he's on 48, then he's on like
40,
171. Let's see, 40. So 48.
171.
He's on 171.
They went to 33.
33.
Yeah, then they went to 202.
202.
Oh, they went to 6. It was on, they was on 6.
It was level 6, and he's like, listen, I gotta do something about this. So how do you think they got them from levels? They put them okay. The guy said, he's like, do you smell that? It's gas. So they go into a deep sleep. So I'm thinking, are they physically moving these people, or somehow it's built to where it can like go up and down?
I wonder. That's a great question.
It would be nice if they showed us how they moved them. That'd been dope.
Yeah, that would be dope. That really would be dope. That's a great question. It was a trap door somewhere. It probably was a trap door, like a whole elevator shaft, or you know what I'm saying? Like it probably was a whole.
How do you think they determine who gets what level?
I think it probably was chance, lottery. Circulate them. The ones that was on the bottom, they'll be somewhere at the top, and the ones that's at the top will spend a little time at the bottom or midway. You know.
So you think maybe you think that's why some of the top jump? They're like, listen, I'm only here 30 days. They're gonna put me back at the bottom, and God only knows where I'm gonna be at. You think just
no? I don't think somebody that was at the bottom and get to the top will jump.
I think so.
I think that's straight nourishment there. I made it. I was at 202, and I'm here right now on 6. Oh, I'm finna ride these 30 days. They ain't gonna move me for 30 days. I'm finna eat. I'm finna gather my strength, and I'm finna try to every day I'm breathing, every moment I'm breathing, I'm trying to get a game plan together. You know what I'm saying? It ain't time to give up. Nah, it's time to push through. You never know who you'll meet, and blase. But the people that was at top, it was just like we was talking about earlier. They was faced with reality. And whatever that meant for them, whatever that meant for them. That's the crazy part. That's the crazy. I thought that
but the mind twist behind this is that, again, this was voluntary, and they probably didn't know what the reality was going to be at. They're like, oh, this is not what I signed up for.
Right.
That's all. I can't do this. I see no way up and down.
Right. Oh, okay. This is my last one. What about the breakdown of pork when he was slicing the lady for the first time? He didn't want to do it, but when he finally needed to eat, and then the ghost showed up and was like ham, jowl, cheek, ribs, hooves, or whatever, ears.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it was all pork, like pork it's like he was breaking down like a pig.
See, I don't eat pork, so I didn't catch on to that.
Right, yeah.
I just thought that he was just naming different parts of the body or whatever.
It felt animalistic, to me. Like the way he, you know what I'm saying? Almost like cutting flesh, same deal. People that eat meat. Me, I eat some meat. I have slacked down tremendously, realizing just the faculties behind it for myself and what it do in my body. When we carve and slice a steak, what's different? The consciousness. Is that what's different? So the flesh ain't different. It's just the consciousness is different.
Oh, okay, that's what you're saying.
So I thought that was interesting, how he was breaking that down. Mm-hmm.
And even when they introduced the woman, the administrator, which is another interesting facet, she finds out she's been working there for 25 years. She finds out she has cancer. So for her, it's like, I know I'm gonna die. There's a term limit on my life. So let me try to change the system. She could have picked anybody in any level. I feel she picks him. You don't think so?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. No. I agree with you. It's just I'm bugging. I'm gonna get on that. Go ahead and finish because she's something about her above me.
Yeah, she could have picked anybody and anybody. She picks the guy who brought in a book, which a book to me connotates someone who is seeking knowledge, who wants to be learned, as opposed to someone who, of course I'm judging, who brings in a knife, or someone who brings in. I mean, again, it came in handy.
Right, it did, because he ate. Right. Didn't he eat it? He ate it, right? He ate the book. Okay.
Yeah, he ended up eating the book. Yeah.
Right. It came in handy, but he didn't know how. He didn't know how it was. Well, no, really, nobody did. Nobody knew how their their thing was gonna come in handy. But when you face, it's all in survival. When you face, even when you don't know, like that man, that was a highly intelligent. Not that the book wasn't, because it had purpose too. I don't know about the dog. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know about the dog. But when you don't know where you're going, and you give it, if somebody telling you got one item, something I can survive with, the book I was gonna say, if you lost in the woods and that's all you have is a book, well, then again, you could start a fire and it could feed the fire or something, but baby, versus a Samurai Plus.
Right.
So again, it all comes back to mindset to me. But then why? But would you? Okay, no, that's the wrong question.
What?
I guess what I'm trying to say is okay. I can't even put it towards you because I don't even know how to put it towards you for it to make sense. Okay. I can't even put it towards myself either, but I think because I'm too attached. But let's just say, generally speaking, did the participants, because some of them was voluntary, some of them wasn't.
Right.
Well, no, it was always voluntary because they could have went to jail, or they could have went to psychiatric care, or they could have went somewhere else. So it was always voluntary. That's why it's private. Yeah, it was always voluntary. But because, if it wasn't the state, there'd be some regulations going on from the administration. Do you think they sold their soul for something better?
Again, it's all about your perception. So you're thinking jail's probably worse than what I am envisioning what this pit is. And I mean, it's not even called the pit. It's like, think about that. It's called the pit. So, okay, so they're going to jail. They're going to send me to the pit. I don't know what's going to go on. However, there seems to be rules to this to where they monitor you, obviously, but you can pretty much act as you please, which again is a dangerous concept.
But can you?
What?
Act as you please.
I mean, they say I wrote it down. Let me see. This is when the lady comes in. It's about there's no kids under 16 allowed in the pit. But as we see, there is a young kid.
Man, spoiler alert. Y'all gotta watch the movie before y'all come talk to us.
Right. Right. No children under 16 allowed in the pit. They call it vertical self-management. Vertical
Mm-hmm.
self-management syndrome. Like, that's interesting. Yeah, everyone is free to behave how they want.
Mm-hmm.
This is what the administrator said. Which again, if you don't have any self-discipline, but I guess even someone that is self-disciplined, I guess there is a breaking point. And starvation is definitely one of those drivers of a breaking point. I mean,
You know what that break? No, you're right. You're absolutely right. But you know what that breaking point is?
what?
Somebody realizing that they're not in control, that they really can't do what they want, or that they're not in control at all.
Here's the
Because
kicker, though. But here's the kicker. That's all of us.
right, yeah, that go to us on the outside, not in the pit. That
Right,
it's synonymous. It's just they put it in a pit to focus in that way because they're focused. They shot it, and that's so brilliant to me. They shot it through the eye of deprivation, but it applies across the board. It's just shot in that eye. You know what I'm saying? But they said it was no rules, meaning, okay, you ain't obligated to go nowhere until the 30 days up. And you all this kind of stuff, but really you only eat when we tell you to eat.
right.
If you take off that thing, I will freeze you or burn you. There is no help.
Right.
So technically, that's control all day. They're only controlling one aspect, but that one aspect is so vital. It's so vital that it truly takes over and controls everything. So they're in complete control.
Right.
But then the people that know I got my one weapon, not weapon, but I got my one thing that they said I could have. I could talk, I can move around in within, like nothing is, it's almost like a lazy sense. Like I ain't got to do nothing, but I could be here, wait my time, get out, and have the things that I want. When people realize, come into that realize concept of losing control in every aspect from their life, they break. And on top of that, starving. Like there's things within this deprivation tunnel, because that's, you know what I mean? That's what it is, pit of deprivation. In that, you ain't eating. Depends on what level, you know what I'm saying? So you really, it's crazy. It's so synonymous with the word. You said something about above, the top, 3 types of people: above, below, fall, and you added a 4th for rising. I like that. And I think they did not, you onto something. I think they didn't put that because they didn't anticipate whoever's experiment this was, did, you know what I mean? Like whoever the administration is, didn't anticipate anyone rising.
I even think that the girl was not necessarily the you know how they had the mother of the child, that character? I can't think of her name.
Yeah, I don't know her name either, but
I mean, you're talking about control. So it's like, because when you think about it, when we finally see the girl, she doesn't look hungry. She doesn't look rattled. She looks clean, and she's in the bottom level. I mean, in comparison to where the rest of them look disheveled and kind of dirty and just, they've been, some of them because of what they've gone through, they're bloody and, she did none of that. So to me, it's almost like maybe she was, again, they obviously like messing with people, obviously, and I'm using that word. So who's to say that they didn't put this girl in there? Because again, as a society, you're judged on how you take care of those who can't take care of themselves. One of those vulnerable people or one of those vulnerable sections of society are kids. And she was clearly a young kid. So who's to say? And then you put rumors like, hey, there's a kid in here. It's like, okay, what? Some people are like, it ain't my kid. Who cares? And some people are like the guy, the main character. He's like, you gotta take care of the kid. It kept showing his humanity through all this deprivation as you're talking about. And so then we see the girl. Yeah. So who's to say that wasn't another level of control? To see it was someone amongst these people rise. Just because you volunteered, but because of your actions, it can free you earlier. He had less than another month ago. So when he did that, he got out early.
Yeah, I feel like the mother determination. I mean, she got beat, she was raped, she was like kidnapped for that. She had to survive. She had to. This was it's crazy, private business, but she had to survive. So,
Yeah.
but through all of that, her eye through whatever she had to go through, she was 100% focused on finding her child because she knew her child was there. So it don't matter what they did to her, she was going to defend herself, fight, and find her child, which says a lot on determined, just people, the strength of being determined about something. You know, I feel like that's what it said. They definitely say to me that they really highlighted her strength. And
They said it was a boy. They said the child was a boy, but it ended up being a girl.
yeah, I that mama. And, oh, and I love how they it wasn't a lot of conversation between the people that congealed in solidarity, like the 3 or 4 people, you know, the cast members in their way to fight the rebellion, I would say. But I like how these people didn't have a lot of conversation. They ain't have time to be like, child, I'm from Greenville. It was really bare. It was down to the essence of real, recognize real. I love that. Real, recognize real, because that's also in the streets or on the street. I mean, you know, that's a staple. You know, to understanding what's real. Real always recognize real.
I know. What do you think about the administrator? Do you think that she was led to believe there's only 200 levels? Because when he ended up on 202, and well, they both ended up on 202, she was just like, because it almost reminds me of like in a hierarchy structure, the top person only knows. It's like you only know so much. There's only so much information that reaches the top. He doesn't know everything that's going on. You know, they're like probably need to know basis. And so she was on need to know, you know, there's only 200 levels. And she's on 202. She's like, listen, I got cancer. I did, you know, this is it for me. I'm on 202. The Lord, like, no, Tom, Amy, I'm done. But she also did it as a favor to him.
Which, yes, I feel you for sure, for sure. Which her part that really said a lot to me. It said a lot too, because how you don't work for this company 25 years. 25 years you done got up every day, done been compliant to some level because you've kept the job. You know, I mean, yeah, you got paid for it, but did not know what you was doing. You did not know that what your contribution that you did every day of your life was really doing to people, because it's an experiment. So that goes that tripped me out. What did I write down? I said working 25 years for something you had no clue what they were really doing. 25 years. That's a hell of a reflection. That's a hell of a reflection. You know what I'm saying? When she was like breaking after her dog what broke her. Yeah. What happened to her dog, you know, which was, I don't feel like I'm going all over everywhere, but I have a question. If you let's say me and you was in solidarity on the platform and we decide we got to get down to get up, you know, we come to that realization and we're going to make a change, right? And we get on there and then we cross a level with some homies of yours, would you have let them eat?
Honestly, because I think it's how you convey a message looking through the bigger picture. I'll be like, listen, y'all my homies, I understand that, but listen, this is the mission we're on.
Right.
We're trying to change the system. As they say, you gotta break the pillars. So I need y'all to either join us or just understand that we can't feed you right now. And it'll probably also depend on what level they're on when you think about it. If they're on a lower level, you know, past like I think it was what 51, where they started rationing the food, yes, I'll let them eat. But if they're on like the top, I'll be like, listen.
Right. I would have did the same thing.
Right.
No.
Come at me.
Y'all eat every day.
Right.
Let's Just a day. Just a day.
Exactly.
What happened tomorrow? Hey, I'm hoping we won't be here. But hey, just a day.
I think you have to communicate in a way for them to understand. Like, that's like one of the beautiful things that I love. I think Muslims in general, we love about Ramadans, because it's a reflection on, listen, you're fasting during the daylight hours. You're fasting with the understanding that you're doing it for a bigger purpose. But when the sun sets, you can break your fast and eat. There's some people out there who they don't know where their next meal's coming from. You know, for them, sunset is just the sun setting. For us, during that time, that means you break your fast. You know, some people don't eat for days, weeks, or whatever. You know, you understand what people go through. So I would try to communicate that as a message. Like, listen, it's a day. Y'all can go out for a day. You know.
Exactly.
You're also here voluntarily. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you probably didn't know what you were signing up for, but now that you know, I'm gonna need you to make a minor sacrifice for the people down below.
And why is you signing up for something you don't know what you signing up for?
That part, right.
What are we really trying to get? You know what I'm saying? Like a degree? A degree?
Right. Oh, the old man was like, you ain't got to try to get a degree and stop smoking? Get the hell out of here. He was like,
he getting a degree in life and he ain't even know it. Mm-mm. He had the slightest idea what he was an undecided major. Oh my God. Yeah, that's crazy. I had a question. Do you think him being transparent with the main character was an act of redemption for his action?
Oh wow. Damn, CCUB.
You know, think about it. He kept it G. He kept it G. Now, whether it was right or wrong, we that's indifferent. That's subjective, truly. Right and wrong is truly subjective, really. But
that's deep, because it reminds me of there's a it's symbolic about how people, for instance, there was this lady, she was she a prostitute? A person that you would perceive as like lowly, immoral, whatever. She gave water to a thirsty dog, and because of that act, she went to paradise. So you look at someone who's like, oh, they're going straight to hell. You do one act, you're given salvation. On the other hand, you see someone who's like, oh, they're so pious and righteous. You do one act, and it sends you to the hellfire. So I guess in that frame, it could be. You can look at it like that.
Yeah. What's funny is not just him. It was disguised by how society or just how people in general judge.
Yeah.
In a way, really. Mm-hmm. The chef.
Girl. I was like, you know what? There's so many disturbing scenes, but to me, that was one of the most disturbing scenes of this entire movie. You're freaking out because of a hair you found on your precious panna cotta or whatever the hell it was on this prize dessert. I'm like thinking, does he know what's going on beneath his feet? Do you think they know? They're preparing all this food, all this beautiful prepared food, extravagant, indulgent. Just, do they know? You think they know what's going on?
I think the chef do. The workers might not. The workers might be. Ain't no telling. But because the one girl, the way she was like in agree, you know, she ain't say nothing, but she looked like she was scared to me. But the chef, I believe he do know, if he's not the head of all of this. I think he do know, because to him it could be an act of redemption, because what he doing, he know good well is wrong ethically. However, since I care about, I'm giving you food. Now, if it make it to you, that's the experiment. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not only giving you food, but I'm giving you your favorite foods. Because they asked in the thing, I'm giving everybody their favorite foods. And I am creating a culinary experience, honey. You gonna die. You can possibly dine like never before.
So do you think the panna cotta, you think that was a girl's favorite food? Everybody going on that thread?
Yep.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a matter of that reaching her.
Yeah, it just waiting on you. Nobody else like it, or just so happened. I guess that was their way of showing that. But I feel like he took so much care with the food and so less care with the body, with the person. Because to him, that's his act. I'm giving you food. You're here voluntarily and I'm feeding you. Now, what happened after that, we're going to call it science.
Wow.
So I feel like that was a redemption for him to be like, at least I'm going to feed him good.
Okay, so okay, my mind bugging out now. Okay, so do you think okay, let's go with this thread. He's one of the puppeteers. Mm-hmm. Is it a possibility that was his kid? Again, look how she's presented. Again, I mean, you're at the lowest level and you're not dirty. You're not, she was cared for.
She was. Right. She looked like she was hiding. Like she was just like got lost. Okay, do you think the woman, the mama, do you think that was his wife?
That's the thread I'm going with. But then again, what did she do to volunteer to put herself in that position? And why would you let your wife go down in the pit like that?
Why would that just make the experiment that much more interesting?
Yeah, it would, but again, how some people can't govern themselves. There's no discipline in some. I mean, you're a woman in a pit that looks like it's predominantly male. You know what's gonna happen. Come on.
You already know. But when you with somebody that probably idle science and the ability, when people get focused on trying to prove something to humanity, or like if they get an epiphany, like which one day I'm gonna do. But like when I'm just gonna say win a Nobel Peace Prize or something, like when you on a feat like that, what else matter? There isn't room for any. It almost has to become an obsession.
So why do you think she was hiding? If we're gonna go with that, why do you think she was hiding? I mean, you're a kid. You're naturally fearful, especially this thing keeps coming down. Wait a minute. Trying to think. Okay, the platform keeps going, even if there's no people, right?
Yep.
Okay. So she's used to no food. Obviously, she's used to no people. So I'm gonna try to figure out why would she be fearful.
But wasn't she at like the bottom?
She's at 333.
Yeah, 3. What was the bottom?
333.
Hold, I'm finna share my screen. We're gonna look at it. Oh, sorry, you gotta do it.
Oh.
Or you disable screen sharing. Let's see what critics say. Although we the critics, but it's him. Empathy. We are. Look at us.
What?
It says it tests the compassion and empathy of society. And just everything we're talking about is right on with what they really meant.
So realize an ultimate response would be to show the elites that mankind can stop killing each other and end the greed enjoyed by the administrators of the pit. He and his new level mate on level 6. Bare arms and head down, warn off anyone trying to eat until level 50, where they'll soon ration food as they know. As a descendant, discover a young girl who seems to be the answer to the overlord's plan. The answers to the overlord's plan. There's a higher purpose.
Yeah, she's a message for the chefs. Sending her back up to the top will prove how resilient humanity is, and it'll show no one killed her, as they believe in kids being the future. He takes her with him when the table arrives, and they leave 333, heading down to the bottom.
They said something about it was a quote from a book about spending what you want, like in a larger sense, spending what you have and spending it well. Like you do good with what you have, what you're given, because you don't know how it's going to be repaid forward. Almost like what I say, like pay it forward. Like you're planting seeds, you're giving out seeds. Like for instance, what you and I with our podcast or whatever. We're small. And hopefully, inshallah, one day it's gonna blow up.
Yes.
But people listening, I don't care if you have 1 listener or 100. You don't know between those numbers. It can touch somebody, and then they start their own, and then that person starts their own, and it just boom from there, from not one person. So you don't know. You're like, we're all seeds.
Yep. Yeah, I 100% agree with that. But when they kept saying about spontaneous solidarity, do you think it's possible? Because he was like,
yeah, I wrote it down. She said change never happens spontaneously.
mm-hmm.
How was this change happening?
I think that's the point. Honestly, I think that's one of the points. How it says change never happens. But he could have been chosen to challenge that condition, because never is a condition. To challenge, what do you never? Never. Who are you to say something?
How would they know that? How would, because again, as the moderator is interviewing him, she's also marking him. She's judging. She's grading him. So how would you think she saw something in him? Like, I think maybe the fact that he brought a book, maybe again going back to the book.
Yeah, for real. I mean, because she has a level of light in her, for humanity and this, that, and the thing. So in that, she saw something with him to be like, it's something about him. She didn't know what he was going into. She didn't even know. She had an idea. Really, I don't even think she had an idea of what truly was down there. I mean, she knew it was like 200 levels and stuff, but I think the death and just the whole premise of not really eating past level 50, like.
I think she knew something about the death, because I mean, they give it a name. What is it? Vertical self-management something. Yeah, vertical self-management center. Like, that's.
Yeah, vertical self-management systems. And literally, I mean, and that's just what it is now. See, had I heard that, like an experiment sign up here, what is it? Vertical self-management systems? No, ma'am. Okay. I ain't gonna sign up for too many experiments anyway. But I know some stuff people need. I mean, like, we need to know. I am in touch with science. You know what I'm saying? And I know that that's how they find out stuff to experiment on it. God. How would you rate it? Old school Netflix rating. How would you rate it? Remember it was like 5 when you can give it like a 5 out of 5 or whatever.
Oh, it's definitely a 5. Number? It's definitely a 5. Definitely a 5.
For me too.
God.
Definitely a 5. Definitely a 5. They did that. They did that. I enjoyed the platform. I enjoyed talking about it too. That was actually very interesting.
Thank you for listening. I appreciate all the support. For those of you who follow me on Spotify and don't want to miss out on any new episodes, turn on the notification button. You can also find the Conversation Piece podcast on iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Breaker.audio, Pocket Casts, Anchor.fm/Akila Lynch, and RadioPublic.com. Salam. Thank you again for tuning in to another episode of the Conversation Piece podcast. I am your humble host, Akila, requesting that you join me again. So, until then, be safe, love, and value yourself so that you can love and value others. I bid you adieu with the greeting, Assalamu alaikum, peace be with you.